Hi, my name is Natalie, and I'm a Gen Xer. I was born in 1977, which also makes me part of the micro generation known as Xennials, or the Oregon Trail Kids. We were born between 1976 and 1983, and we had an extra unique childhood and teenage experience because we were kids of the 80s and we were teenagers and college kids in the 90s. Basically, we grew up in an analog world, but then everything switched to digital when we were close to becoming adults. And I feel like all American Gen Xers, especially us Xennials, had essentially the same childhood. If you weren't there, I'm really sorry. It's hard to describe just how awesome it was to be a kid in the 80s and then going to high school and college in the 90s. It was the perfect time to be a young person in America, because anything was possible and everything was exciting. If you watch any episode of Ted Lasso or scroll through any Gen X Facebook group where everyone pretends it's the 80s or 90s, you'll quickly see that nostalgia is thick with Xers, and we all remember a lot of the same experiences. We watch the same TV shows and movies, listen to the same music. Don't get me wrong, there were niches for everything in pop culture, but the vast majority of us experienced the same cultural moments, I guess you could say. We learned the same things in school, in generally the same format, with the same school subjects and extracurriculars. And the news we consumed was kind of what our parents watched, the same nightly news network anchors and the same weather people and the same morning newspapers showing up on our front door. I'd be willing to bet that absolutely every Gen Xer knows who these people are. And we all know exactly where we were when this happened. And I would say that especially the Xennials here, we all remember the absolute joy of earning this. And we all made or received a few of these and these. And I know for a fact that some or all of these people were on a bedroom wall at some point in a Gen Xer's life. Honestly, all of these posters I've seen in so many different college dorm rooms in the 90s. And then in high school on bedroom walls in the early 90s. These pictures were everywhere. And then all of our fourth grade teachers looked like this. And we all learned the same things about DARE, the importance of DARE and milk cartons and stranger danger. And I promise you, we all know exactly what is going to happen as soon as this pinball is launched. Honestly, I loved my childhood and adolescence, and I wouldn't give it up for anything. But as fantastic as my Gen X pre-9/11 American utopia was, I have to admit that a lot of it is well overdue for a little scrutiny. I often joke that I live like it's still 1999 and 2000, and that's because that was just a time that I really loved and enjoyed. It's pretty obvious to us now that every bit of information and media is being manipulated and curated to each one of us via big tech and our electronic devices. But I'm starting to think that the American experience that I'm so nostalgic for wasn't really what it seemed to be. At least, not always. When I was enjoying the benefits of my baby boomer parents ascending through the middle class and reaching the top of it, while I was consuming and experiencing American culture in all of its forms from morning until night, the reality and history presented to me and all other Americans at the time wasn't always a true reporting or representation of what was really going on in our government, in our culture, and in our relationships with the rest of the world. At this point, I think we all know that there's been kind of a managerial or ruling class, whatever you want to call it, the deep state, in our government that's kind of been manipulating all of the media and entertainment that's been put out before us since, the Kennedy assassination. And then you got all of the stuff that's been taught in schools over the last few decades. But there's government programs like Operation Mockingbird, which were designed to manipulate the American experience, and that began before the first member of Gen X was even born, and it continues to this day. Okay, so what I'm saying is I'm now starting to question all of the things I thought I knew about my American 1980s childhood. And why did I learn the things that I learned in school? I'm asking, who decided the curriculum that we were all taught and why? the Department of Education wasn't even created until like 1979. Like, and we were all learning the same things. Why was school set up the way it was? And I'm also asking questions like how curated was the news we saw, like via Walter Cronkite or Dan Rather when they were on the news every night? And was there an agenda behind it? How far back does fake news go? I mean, I'm starting to see things like President Reagan had dementia in his final year of office, and stranger danger wasn't really even real. And I don't know. There's all kinds of things that are just making me question my Gen X childhood. So that's what this channel is all about, my so-called Gen X life. I think it's time to enjoy some serious nostalgia, because there's a lot of things about Gen X life that I love and I'm nostalgic for. But I want to look back at all those things that we never really questioned and, put a little skepticism and scrutiny into what was really being put before our eyes and why the experiences were the way they were. So that's me, that's this channel, and I hope you subscribe and join my Gen X journey through nostalgia and like what was going on in the American media and the American experience in our lifetime. Okay, bye.